What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today we're going to show you how to set up your GB1 portable PA system. So the whole system comes assembled as you see it here. Let's go ahead and open it up using the latches on each side. So on the front, we're just going to lift up each latch like this, and you'll want to do the same exact thing on the back. So now we should be able to pull the top pieces here, which are actually the speakers for the system. And the bottom of our case here holds our speaker stands. We also got the mixer here on the bottom. And inside of this compartment here, we have the included microphone. And inside of this compartment here, you have the mic cable, the cables for each speaker, and your power cable. The first thing we can do is set up the speaker stands. So let's go ahead and pull them out of the case by undoing these Velcro strips here. Then we can take each stand out of the case. So for each stand, you'll see we have two knobs here, so we can adjust the width of the legs that hold the stand, and we can adjust the height of the stand. So first, let's set the legs by loosening this bottom knob here, and then we can pull the base of the legs down to spread the legs like so. From here, we can set them as narrow or as wide as we want. So once we find a position we like, we can just tighten the knob to lock the legs in place. Then we can use the top knob here to adjust the height of the stand, so we can loosen that up and then pull on the top of the stand like so. As you pull up the top, you'll see these holes here that we can use to lock the height of the stand along with the locking pin here. So once you find a height that you like, you can take your locking pin and run it through the bottom hole. Then you can just set it down and you'll see that locking pin holds it from falling in. And then you can tighten this knob on top here to lock the stand in place. We're gonna go ahead and do the same exact thing on our second stand here. So now that we've got the stands all set up, we can go ahead and put on our speakers. So if you look at the bottom of each speaker, you'll see that we have a pole mount for the included speakers, and we also have a bigger pole mount if you wanted to place these speakers on different stands that you may have. So to attach the speakers onto the included stands, you're gonna line up the small hole on the bottom of the speaker to the top of the stand here, and then you're just going to slide the speaker onto the stand. We're going to do the exact same thing with the other speaker on our other stand. Now to connect the speakers to the mixer, you can take both of your 1/4-inch cables here. You're going to take one end of your cable and plug it into the 1/4-inch input here on the bottom left corner on each speaker. Then you can plug the other end into the 1/4-inch outputs here on the top of the mixer inside of the case. On the top of the mixer, you'll also see the power socket to plug in our power cable. So I'm going to take the IEC end and plug it into the socket. Then I can connect the other end to a power outlet or power strip. I'm just going to go ahead and face the mixer up so you guys can see the front. Now let's go ahead and power on the mixer using the switch on top. Now the mixer has 4 different mic inputs that we can use, whether we're using the included microphone or any other microphones you may have. So with the included microphone, I can take my XLR cable here and plug the female end into the mic. Then I can plug the other end into any of these mic inputs, but for today we'll use the mic input on channel 1. So then I'm gonna raise the gain fader on my mic channel. And to hear the microphone coming out of the speakers, I'm gonna raise these main left and right faders here. So now if I turn on the microphone, check 1, 2, you should be able to hear my voice coming out of the speakers. So if you wanted to set up more microphones with the remaining mic inputs, you can follow these same exact steps, but you're gonna need some extra microphones and microphone cables. Along with the mic inputs, each channel also has a 1/4-inch line input to connect an instrument to each channel. And channels 4 and 5 actually have 2 1/4-inch line inputs, which is great to use with a stereo instrument like a keyboard or synthesizer. So to show you how that works, I have my guitar right here, and I'm also gonna grab this 1/4-inch instrument cable. I'll plug one end into my guitar, and then I'll plug the other end into one of the 1/4-inch line inputs. And for today, we'll use the line input on channel 1. So now I'm gonna wanna raise the gain fader here for channel 1. And then to hear everything coming out of the speakers, I'm gonna raise the main left and right faders here. So now if I raise the volume on my guitar and start to play, should be able to hear it coming out of the speakers. Each channel also has a 2-band EQ with the high and low knob, so I'm just gonna plug my microphone back in to show you how those work. So the high knob will control all of the high-end frequencies coming from your channel. So if I lower it, for example, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, you're gonna hear that my voice doesn't have as much presence anymore. And if I raised it all the way up, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, you hear it a little too clearly now. So now if we set it back in the middle, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, You get a nice balance there. Then we have the low knob, which can affect all of the low end frequencies coming from our channel. So if I lower it on my channel 1 here, check 1 2, check 1 2, you're not going to hear as much body or bass coming through my voice. And if I raised it all the way up, check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2, you'll hear a lot of low end there. So now let's set it back in the middle, check 1 2, check 1 2 for a balance. So since we just talked about connecting a guitar to the mixer, let's now talk about how to connect a keyboard to the mixer. Now, like I mentioned, channels 4 and 5 have the stereo line inputs, which would be great to use with our keyboard or synthesizer. So to connect the keyboard to the mixer, I'm going to take 2 1/4-inch cables. I'm going to plug one end of both cables into the left and right outputs of my keyboard. Then I'm going to plug the other ends into the left and right inputs on channels 4 and 5. And you want to keep track of which channel is going where. So for example, if I'm taking the cable going from the left output of my keyboard, I want to plug it into the left input on the mixer. So the next thing I'm going to want to do is raise the gain fader for channels 4 and 5. And I'm going to want to make sure to raise the main left and right faders so we hear everything coming out of the speakers. So now if I raise the volume on my keyboard and play a little something, you'll hear it coming out of the speakers. Now there's also another way we can set up our keyboard to the mixer. So if you take a look at the keyboard and you see that the left output is also a mono output, you can use just one of your 1/4-inch cables and plug one end into that mono output. Then plug the other end into a single channel on your mixer, say like channel 1. And then you're gonna follow these same exact steps by raising the gain and the main left and right faders, and you should be able to hear the keyboard coming out of your speakers. This way you can use just one of the channels on your mixer instead of 2, leaving you some more room. Each channel also has a reverb knob that we can use with the digital processor here on the bottom of the mixer. So we can use the up and down buttons to set which effect we want. So we have the number settings, which are different reverbs, and then we have the letter settings, which are different echoes. So for example, I'm gonna set it to number 8 here. Then I'm gonna raise the reverb knob on whichever channels we want reverb on. So in this case, I'm gonna raise it on my first channel here. And now if we talk into the mic, you'll hear the echo. Keep in mind these effects will also affect any instrument you have connected. So if we take another look at the mixer, you'll see we have channels 6 and 7, which has an RCA input and output. We can use the RCA input to connect an external device like another amplifier, CD or DVD player, or even an MP3 device. Then we can use the RCA output to set it up to another powered speaker, subwoofer, or anything that has an RCA input. Next to that, we have an SD card and a USB input so we can play music from devices like those. And then below the LCD screen here, you'll have all of these different buttons for music playback. So you got the pause and play button here. You've got the mode button to switch the input source for the amplifier between Bluetooth, USB, aux, etc. We've also got the repeat button to repeat our tracks. And then next to that, we have the skip forward or previous button. And then you can also use these buttons to adjust the volume for your MP3 or Bluetooth device. Below that, we have a 5-band EQ so we can customize the sound that's coming out of our amplifier through our speakers. Like I mentioned earlier, we have the left and right faders here to affect the volume coming out of our speakers. And if it ever gets too loud, you can always tell by using the clip indicator here. So whenever it's lighting up in the red, that means you'll want to lower the volume a bit with the left and right faders. So we have different ways we can play music through the amplifier, including Bluetooth. So let's go over how to set that up next. So first we'll want to set the amp to Bluetooth mode by pressing the mode button here until it reads Bluetooth. It'll read Bluetooth disconnected if it's looking for a device to pair to. So then we can go into the Bluetooth settings of our smartphone or tablet, search for the device that reads Rockville and click on it to pair. You'll know your Bluetooth device is connected when it says Bluetooth connected on the LCD screen. Remember to adjust the volume for your Bluetooth device. You're gonna wanna hold down on these volume buttons here. One thing to keep in mind is that you wanna use the USB knob to set the input level for your Bluetooth device, and then you can adjust the output using the volume buttons here underneath the display. You can also adjust the volume using the volume notches on your phone or tablet. So let's go ahead and hear how it sounds. sounds really good. So with all the different mic inputs and the ability to connect your phone or tablet to the mixer through Bluetooth, the GB1 makes for a perfect karaoke system. So we'll start by connecting the included mic into the mixer. So I'm gonna grab the microphone and the XLR cable. I'm gonna plug the female end into the mic. Then I'm gonna plug the other end into any of the available mic inputs. So for today, let's use mic channel 1. So now I'm gonna wanna raise the gain knob here on the mic channel. And I'm gonna make sure that the left and right faders are raised also so we can hear the microphones coming out of the speakers. So now if I talk into my mic, check 1, 2, you'll hear it coming out of the speakers. And if you wanted to set up even more microphones, you're just gonna follow the same exact steps using the other mic inputs with some more microphones and mic cables. So now that we've got our mic set up, let's connect our Bluetooth device so we can play some music and read along to the lyric. So we'll wanna set the mixer to Bluetooth mode by pressing the mode button until it reads Bluetooth. And it's also gonna read that it's disconnected, so it's looking for your device to connect to it. So either on our phone or tablet, we can go into the Bluetooth settings here, search for the device that reads Rockville, and click on it to pair. If you have the USB volume up, you'll hear that sound letting you know your device is connected, and it will also read connected here on the display. So from here we can go into the YouTube app and search for any karaoke version of a song, so we have the lyrics coming up on our screen while the music is playing through our speakers. If you want some extra flair on your vocals, you can also use the reverb along with the digital processor to have some echo or reverb on your voice while you're singing along. So I can use the digital processor and press the up and down buttons to switch between different effects. Remember, the numbered effects are the different reverbs and the lettered effects are the different echoes. So let's go ahead and set it to a nice echo right now. Then I'm gonna raise the reverb knob on whatever channel I want to be affected. So I'm gonna do that on channel 1. And now we're all set to sing along to some karaoke. You can dance, you can jive, having the time of your life. Ooh, see that girl, watch that scene, digging the dancing queen. Ow! So once you're all set to pack up your system, you can start by turning off your mixer here, unplugging all of the cables from the top of the mixer, including the power cable and the 1/4-inch cables that connect to your speakers. Then you can unplug the other end of the 1/4-inch cables from your speakers. Then we can lower the height of the stands by loosening the knob here, taking out the pin, and then just lower the top of the stand, tighten the knob back up here, and then we can contract the legs by lowering the bottom knob and pushing the base of the stand up, which will contract the legs. We'll do the same exact thing with the other speaker and stand. So now we can take each stand and place them in the compartment on top of the mixer here, and then we can use these Velcro strips to keep them nice and secure. So next we'll take each of the cables that came with the system, like the XLR cable, the 1/4-inch cables, and the power cables, and wrap them nice and neatly. Then we can take each cable and place them into any of these compartments here. We can place the microphone into any of these compartments as well. The next thing we'll want to do is take one of our speakers and make sure that the handle here on the back is lining up to the handle here on the case. We're going to do the same exact thing with the other speaker on the other side. And then we're going to lock the speakers in by pressing down on these latches here, just like this. Remember, you'll want to do this on the front and the back of the system. And now we're all set to take the GB1 to our next gig or event, or to store it away. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set up your GB1, but of course if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.